I would like you to choose your path not out of your compulsive needs but of your conscious needs. Will it be worthwhile to tie up your life for the simple needs that you have today, or are these just passing needs for you? It's a very strong need you must marry. You can work out your needs probably by just going to a cinema, then no need to get married, you know. Is it an advantage to walk single rather than walk with people? Yes, if you want to walk rapidly. He said, this life is a brief walk, why do you need company? When you leave this body, it's a long place, there I will be there. See, marriage is not a commodity that you carry on your head, but many people carry it on their head. It's just an arrangement, so that socially there is some sense to the way you fulfill the needs that you have. A human being has needs, physical, psychological, emotional, financial, social, various kinds of needs. To fulfill these things in a dignified manner, we came up with something called marriage, so that it is fulfilled within a framework. Your desires don't run wild and disturb everything in the society, some kind of a framework, so that it can be conducted in a sensible manner. Now you have raised this to heaven because somebody told you marriages are made in heaven. Only the unmarried ones think so. So it's just two people, all right? Now, spiritual process is about turning inward. Can I turn inward with somebody else? Marriage is an arrangement to fulfill certain aspect of your life. Don't complicate life by thinking, we will walk together on the spiritual path. There's no such thing. Because spiritual path is not not the path that you take into the Velangiri mountains, that you want to walk together. Even if you go to Velangiri mountains, please don't walk hand in hand. It's a narrow pathway and it's not an appropriate way to walk in the forest. You can walk in the park hand in hand. You can go shopping hand in hand. You can sit in a cinema hand in hand. You can't turn inward hand in hand. Now, does it mean to say someone who's married? What it means… let's understand this. Someone who is married means someone who's made an official arrangement for their needs in life. A formal arrangement for simple needs that a human being has, which are biological, which are psychological, which are social, many things. So these arrangements that you have made, conduct these arrangements gracefully, so there will be time and space for you to turn around. If you pay excess attention to these arrangements, then turning around will not be possible. This does not mean if you're alone, you will do it. If you're alone, you may be always looking out. You spend your entire time and life looking out for somebody, that will also not help. If you think your desires, your longings and your needs can be well handled by an arrangement of marriage, all right? Don't try to raise it to heaven. It doesn't happen in heaven, believe me. And if heaven is making so many mistakes, then we'll have to seriously reconsider many things. So, of course, in India, we don't blame it on the heaven. We do our own calculations of all the arrangements of stars and planets and everything. We match all the planets and stars very well. It's very easy to match stars because they never fought ever. But to match these two people, that nobody has managed except those two people if they are sensible. If they're sensible, they can manage it. Nobody else can match these two people. Priests have tried, gods have tried, ghosts and goblins have tried, it's not worked and not worked and not worked. Two sensible people, they can manage. If both of them understand the limitations of the arrangement and the possibilities of the arrangement, they can conduct it sensibly. If you try to raise it to heaven, you will see it will for sure crash. So your marriage has nothing to do with your spiritual process, because your spiritual process is an inward journey. But one dimension of this is, to walk alone, people falter. Actually, this question was asked to Gautama, the Buddha. Is it better to walk alone or in company? Gautama looked and said, it's better to walk alone than to walk with a fool. Because Gautama, not me, okay? Gautama believes only a fool will marry you. It's him, not me, okay? I thought marriage is a live-in relationship. So, isn't marriage a live-in relationship? Are they living separately? There are some marriages like that, I know, but first of all, we must understand why are we forming a relationship. Right now, this in your language, the West has seeped in too strongly in your language, because somewhere in your mind, if you utter the word relationship, you're only thinking about sex-based relationships. That's not how it's been in this country. When we say relationships in this country, we thought we have a relationship with our parents, our friends, our brothers, our sisters, all kinds of relationships. But if you go in the West and you say a relationship, it means body-based relationship. First drop that idea. Relationships can be on many different levels, isn't it? Why are we making only one particular relationship so important against the other? Yes, it is also an important relationship, but not against the other, isn't it? But right now, slowly, we are building this Western ideology that this relationship versus the rest. It need not be so. The reason why in this country, marriages have been very stable, not always because two people are getting along great, not always. Because when they got married, a few thousand people got married along with them. Bride and the groom were a small aspect of the marriage. There are so many other people involved. Now if you have to break it, you have to break it on all levels, you can't break it. Your father and his father, or your father and her father may be having such a wonderful friendship, you can't break it now. Even if you want to break it with your wife, you can't break it because the whole family has joined up in so many ways. It's not just about two people. Is this good or bad? See, in the course of living together, people, today you got into some kind of situation in the evening. Today you thought, this is it, I don't want to see your face again, finished. But tomorrow morning you're again in love. Hasn't this happened to you any number of times? Yes? If there is a whole lot of people around you, when that evening, when that feeling came that I don't want to see your face again, at that moment if you pack up and leave, it's finished. You can't come back tomorrow morning. But now there's a whole lot of situation that you can't leave. You stayed on, tomorrow morning everything is wonderful. Unfortunately, most human beings are still like this, isn't it? They can't be so aware and every day they can manage everything beautifully. That's not how it's going, life, isn't it so? Ugly things happen, isn't it, in beautiful relationships? Don't they happen? Even in most beautiful relationships, ugly incidents are happening, isn't it so? To sustain those moments of ugliness, you need some support system. If there's just two idiots are there, they'll break. So, once children come, it gets a little more difficult. But before that, all the others are important. So, what is this new thing about live-in and marriage? So what you're saying is, I'll walk out whenever I feel like it, isn't it? That's not good for anybody. This is a huge load on human consciousness. There is no emotional security. I think United States of America, just recently, I was addressing a group of people just a week ago, and I was telling them one big reason, they were talking about the economic meltdown, why are we not productive, why is it that this has happened? I said, one important thing is there's no emotional security for the man and the woman. You go out, when you come back, you don't know whether your home will be there or not. You don't know whether your wife will be waiting for you or not. This is there on most people's minds, at least 50% of the people's minds. With this level of insecurity, your husband goes to the office, you don't know whether he'll come back or go away with the secretary. When this emotional insecurity is there, you cannot focus on anything. People cannot be productive when there is no stable emotional situation for themselves. Here we fix the marriage in such a way, no matter what happens, you can't break this. It doesn't matter what stupid things you do, you still have to come back to that place. That gives a certain sense of security. There may be a lot of ugliness in the situation, but still there is a stability where you can focus on what you're doing. So, when you say marriage versus live-in, what is it? Uncommittedly you want to live in, that's all, isn't it? You don't want to live in a committed way. I don't think living in an uncommitted way together is a good thing, nor is there any… I'm not saying marriage means some pujari has to come and say a mantra for you, but it must be a committed relationship. If there is no commitment, there is no real sense of respect. When there is intimacy, there must also be respect for the other person's body, mind and everything, isn't it? When you say, I'm not committed to you, whenever I feel like it, I'll walk out, there is no sense of value and respect for the other person, isn't it? So marriage is not some fairy tale thing happening, nor is it happening in heaven. It is just a statement of commitment, that I'm with you, isn't it? If you're against commitment, no, I don't think that's a good thing to do. It will not bring the stability that you're seeking out of that relationship. If you're just looking for pleasure, it's up to you. But if you're looking for a stable situation, it takes commitment. Without commitment, there is no stable situation. So marriage is not performed by somebody. That is only for social reasons. Marriage is between two people that there is a sense of commitment, I'm with you, isn't it? Whether we actually go through a ceremony or do not go through a ceremony could be a choice, but I don't think there is a choice about whether we are committed to each other or not. Then you will never know the joy of being together. It'll always be a calculation, isn't it? It'll always be a calculation, isn't it? What can I get out of you, what can you… Once there is what can I get out of you, a relationship cannot be beautiful.
The same problem every human being faces, stress, strain.
Why? Why are you making it universal? You're assuming that. Okay, you are stressed and strained and what?
And one more point.
Torture.
Getting married and traveling in the path of yoga to reach to the destination, and not getting married, going on the path of the yoga. Which one is the best way?
So he has named his wife and children as stress, strain, torture. Wife and two children, stress, strain and torture. How's that? I don't want you to travel on the path of yoga. Whatever goddamn path you're traveling on, take yoga with you. It will make the path easy and beautiful. Whether you go north or south, if it is dark, you take a torch, isn't it? Only northward people take torch, southern people take darkness with you. Is there such a thing? No. So, you getting married is because of your needs. You were not born with your wife, were you? You were born like this, a complete human being. Because you have certain needs, physical, psychological, emotional, maybe financial, social, that also is there, right? So, various needs. Marriage is generally supposed to be a package which deals with all these needs. Physical needs, psychological needs, emotional needs, social needs, sometimes financial needs also. So it is a comprehensive package that if you get married, all these problems are solved in one shot. Sometimes they may refuse to fulfill some of your needs. So you get stressed, strained and tortured. I want you to understand, you married for your well-being, not as some sacrifice for somebody's sake. You married for your needs and your well-being, isn't it? You better remember that all your life. You married and tied up the other person with you because you have needs. You did not do it for the other person's sake. Yes or no? Let's be straight about this. Yes or no? Yes. You remember this? If you remember this, you live in little gratitude, okay? You… if not all the five pancha and the five needs, at least two you fulfill for me, thank you very much, isn't it? All the five perfectly, maybe they did not fulfill. At least two or three they fulfilled, right? Your husband or your wife? Did they, didn't they? If they did not fulfill anything, I don't think you would be there by now. Yes or no? If they did not fulfill any of your needs, I do not think you would still be there. They are fulfilling some needs, a few things maybe they are not able to fulfill. So are you. You are also not able to fulfill every one of the needs of the other person. Some you're fulfilling, some you're not, isn't it so? So, why did this become stress, strain and torture? Whichever way you have made it, till now, it doesn't matter. If you're willing, in 3 days' time, it doesn't matter how bad your situation is, in 3 days' time, you can bring it to a semblance of peace. If not love, if not ecstasy, at least you can bring it to a peaceful state in 3 days' time if you are willing, 100%. Yes or no? At least you can shut up. Simply, whatever happens. Peace will happen. and maybe they will love it. So, don't walk the path of yoga, whatever the path, you must carry yoga with you. If you carry yoga with you, it'll light up your path, whatever path you have chosen. You have chosen your path out of your needs. You already done it, so that's up to you. Those who have not done it, I would like you to choose your path not out of your compulsive needs, but of your conscious needs. So, when that stage in your life comes, it is time to consciously look at your life and see, will today's needs mean something to you after 5 years or 10 years? Will it be worthwhile to tie up your life for the simple needs that you have today, or are these just passing needs for you? It's a very strong need, you must marry. If it is not a strong need, it's a passing need. You can work out your needs probably by just going to a cinema, then no need to get married, you know. Yes, many people are like this, their needs are not very strong, it's just passing, but social structure tells them you have to. Not necessary. It must be a conscious choice. Whichever way you go, it must be your conscious choice, not compulsive choices. Because if you choose compulsively, you will always take it out on the people around you. Because you feel like a slave and you don't like it, so you take it out on them and they will take it out on you. So, it is not about what you're doing, it is about how you do it. What you're doing is according to our requirements, but how you do it will determine the nature of your life. Is it an advantage to walk single rather than walk with people? Yes, if you want to walk rapidly. In Africa there is a saying, they say, if you want to walk quick, walk alone. If you want to walk long, walk in company. If you're making a long distance journey, it's better to have company. If you are walking a short distance and very quick you want to walk, it's best to go alone, isn't it? Gautama said another thing. When somebody asked him the same question, he said, "It is better to walk alone than to walk with a fool." Because by looking at you, he is very clear, who else will marry you? So that is Gautama's way of working. So he said, he's always discouraging people to take company. He said, this life is a brief walk, why do you need company? When you leave this body, it's a long place, there I will be there. This is the offer. But you think life is long. So maybe you need company. If you need company, you take it. But how you conduct this company is very important. If you want to conduct this sensibly, one of the most important things that you need to do, particularly with your children, you must do this, is your psychological and your emotional framework should be around the basic fact of life. The basic fact of life is that you're mortal. Your psychological and emotional structure should be formed around your mortality. This is most important. If you're constantly aware that this is a brief life, any moment you'll fall dead actually, then you would organize your life and conduct your life in a certain way. When you know time is ticking away, any moment you'll be knocked down, you have no time to get angry with somebody, isn't it? You have no time to fight with somebody here. You have no time to sit there depressed for a long period of time because tick, 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 it's going away. Because your psychological structure is organized around your immortality, because of that, you have lot of time to fight, to be depressed, to be frustrated, to fret, to fume. You have a lot of time. So it's very, very important that everybody organizes their psychological and emotional structure around the mortal nature of our existence. After all, you are just a baton carrier between the last generation and the next generation, isn't it? Yes? For a brief time it's in your hands, this world. Afterwards, somebody else is going to take it. You will see, taking the baton from the previous generation happens in most ugly ways. Handing over the baton to the next generation happens in horrible ways, simply because people's mind is structured around their belief of immortality. They don't see they're mortal. If you're constantly aware that you're mortal, sense will naturally dawn upon you. You will have no time for foolishness. Suppose you're aware that tomorrow you're going to die, would you spend today fighting with somebody? Because your time is ticking, isn't it? And your time is ticking even now. Not after a doctor diagnoses you with some horrible disease. Even now it's ticking, isn't it so? If you want to explore the possibility of what this is, the immensity of what this is, then the time is ticking too rapidly. And time is an extremely relative experience. If you're joyful and blissful, even if you live to be 100, it's a very brief life. It's gone in no time. So, in this brief life, where do you get time for stress, strain and torture? I don't know. Where do you get time? This is simply because you think you're immortal. This is the biggest mistake you have done. It is just a brief journey. You must conduct it as gracefully, as blissfully as possible. If you do not know the cosmos, at least you must know this piece of life before you fall dead. That must happen to everybody.